Hello, and welcome back to those of you who saw my previous podcast. If you did not see that one, you may just quit now and go and see it first. For this one will make no sense without having seen the previous one called To Be and Not To Be. In the previous podcast, I tore you apart down to the atomic level, to the quantum world and beyond. I explained that the stuff you are made of is not just stardust, it may be nothing material at all. So how can I pick you up again from nothingness into being, to put you back into the world of living entities where you obviously are right now? Let me start with the fact that you are conscious, a conscious being. Without consciousness, you obviously would not exist. Perhaps as a thing others might be conscious of, but not to yourself. You would not have an experience of being. Therefore you would not exist unto yourself. I hold that it is being cognitively conscious, basically being a structure of consciousness, that makes you exist and know that you exist. You sense and experience surfaces of all that surrounds you, only yourself from the inside observation post. So let us grab the essence of it. Consciousness is what makes you aware of being, aware of yourself both as a body and as a cognitive individual. You're a fragment of consciousness just as I am, just like your dog or your cat, the bird in a tree and the tree itself. So, you do not think trees are conscious, do you? But before you cling to preconceived opinion, follow my argument. I am about to rebuild you from nothingness, so you better listen. Have you ever considered what consciousness is per se? You are conscious, an observing, reflecting, cogitating unit on planet Earth. Pinch your skin and you will know. Now try to explain where your consciousness resides in you. It is obviously present in your skin. But like most people, you believe it sits in your brain, right? No, wrong answer. Scientists have examined the brain for 100 years and more. And recently with the most advanced instruments without ever spotting the site of consciousness. They never saw a thought in the brain. Why? Well, a thought is not material. It is immaterial. Science is only able to observe the material world. So it cannot observe a thought, an idea, an inspiration, or a mental image. They only observe changes in the bloodstream and the firing of nerve impulses. And that is quite a different thing, and on a very different level, the material level. Now, where is consciousness? Before I explain, I need to make you aware of the fact that the explanation goes beyond physics into metaphysics and philosophy. It may also challenge your present opinion, so bear with me and be open-minded. I'm going to rebuild your existence from the ground. My basic concept is that the ground is consciousness itself. It is absolutely everywhere and all-pervading, penetrating everything on the most subtle level beyond the quantum world. It is a force that is present in the whole cosmos, a force that makes the cosmos continuously become by building its minutest bricks, the structures or patterns that produce the quantum particles everything else is made of, every atom, light and space. Consciousness goes deeper and beyond everything material, yet its structures matter into patterns. The will of being resides in this cosmic consciousness, the Urgrund in my vocabulary, exactly the way a miniature of such will exist in your mind, however flimsy and willy-nilly it may be. This will is at the root of your being, the force that caused your appearance in this world. The basic pattern of you is externalized from this deep consciousness by a fragment of will becoming you. The beginning of your construction into a being is like a drop of water evaporating from the ocean. Like a drop of fog is misty and diffuse, so is the basic structure of you as emerging into an entity. Yet there is a pattern. The pattern of your fragmented will to become and to be. At this point, we need to return briefly to quantum physics again. As I explained in the previous podcast, quantum particles are always at the edge of being and nothingness. They appear and disappear faster than any instrument can measure, appearing from a so-called superpositioned state into one exact state on observation, just to disappear again. They are like a fluid stream, but they stick to the material structure, turning it into matter, by building the atoms the structure consists of. Thus, the structure of you grows in the physical being. I hold that all of you and all of so-called matter is basically a condensate of consciousness. How is this at all possible? Well, consider the fact that the tiniest particle of matter is vibrating at a certain rate. Particles are vibration. It is the density of vibration that makes consciousness seem to be firm matter. It is the scales of these vibrations that shape matter, and it is the difference between these vibrations or densities between your fingers and any physical item that enables you to feel what it is. It is also this difference that makes it possible for you to wave your hand through the air, to penetrate water with your hand, but not a wooden table. So here you go. You have suddenly reappeared from nothingness with a body built from patterns of consciousness, and at the same time embodied a fragment of the universal consciousness in your body and your being. In this sense, you are not being, yet being. You have become a conscious individual residing in a material, conscious human body. You have the right to ask if this is just a crazy idea of mine, or if it is more to hold to it. It is partly both. First of all, it is an idea that hit my thinking mind at a very early stage, possibly due to some strange experiences in my youth. I also found that there is a fundamental background to it in ancient concepts of panpsychism, which states that the universe is conscious, that consciousness pervades everything. Further, we have ancient occult and mystical traditions supporting the idea of panpsychism, taking it as fundamental to their practice and techniques to reach insight and illumination. Considering consciousness as the basic component of all there is, lies at the heart of the approach of mystics and occultists, and know as much as them. The ancient alchemists knew this is the prima materia they spoke of in their cryptic texts. They considered it sacred and knew how to work within the different levels of consciousness, reaching deep into the matter and let it transform themselves, the body, chemistry, and finally work out physical transformations. Consciousness resides in everything, and transformations in the world of matter can only be carried out by one who knows how to manipulate through consciousness itself. All else is gross manipulation of things. Then there is science and the many mysterious and physically inexplicable phenomena of quantum physics that necessarily must involve consciousness, in spite of the physicists' reluctance to involve it into their calculations due to its immateriality, immeasurability, and their material ideology. It takes the physicists out of their comfort zone and into metaphysics. Finally, it also sits at the root of every religion, however far they have moved away into dogma. You have few indications in ancient religious scripture, like in the opening phrase of the Gospel of St. John, saying, "In the beginning was the Word." I usually transcribe word into verb, because a verb is active. The word verb, when uttered, creates vibrations that we experience as sound. Transplanted into the cosmic scheme, it is vibration. Thus the expression of the cosmic consciousness bringing matter into existence. In its deepest expression, this is the light that every mystical experience dives into and thus leads to enlightenment. To conclude, you may now be able to see yourself as a being both materially and in every other aspect existing as consciousness, a fragmentary expression of the Urgrund. This is where I intend to end this podcast, leaving you to consider your being, your existence, or as an expression of a cosmic light on the highest octaves of vibration willed into being. Consider this as a matter of not to be and yet to be.